A little bit more about myself. You may not know this, but I have been known, was known more, maybe less now, but now you guys all know. I'm known to make a really good guacamole. Okay, now I'm not boasting here, but I make a really good guacamole. Okay. Yes, the ingredients are important, but I'm not like one of those French chefs who go to the farmer's market and, like the guacamole, like avocado. I'm actually partially like allergic to avocados. Maya's laughing right now. She's shaking her head, rolling her eyes, because I eat it, even though I'm allergic to it. Anyhow, okay, that's a different story. Okay, but yes, ingredients are important, and I am actually very picky about the tomatoes that I use in my guacamole. I like to use the firm, plump Roma tomatoes. I hate the soft, squishy, grainy, yucky tomatoes. I don't know what those yucky tomatoes are called. Okay. So those are important, right? But what sets my guacamole apart from other people's guacamole? Even there was a time, actually, a long time ago, we put together a church cookbook, and I put forth my guacamole recipe, okay? No joke. And so, right, I mean, cookbook recipe, you basically have list of ingredients, and guacamole, it's not rocket science. You chop it up, mix it together, there it is, right? It doesn't take any, you don't add any heat to it or whatever. It's just very simple, right? And yet, people will come up to me and say, I followed exactly what you said in terms of the ingredients, but my guacamole did not turn out like your guacamole, right? And I'm all like kind of smiling, and because I know the answer. I know why. It's the work that I put into my guacamole, okay? Again, no joke. It takes me about almost 2 hours to make my guacamole. Okay. I mean, some people may call it a labor of love, right? I think my family do because they appreciate it. I think it's just OCD tendencies. I'm kind of OCD. I have to cut the tomatoes just right. I'm talking about the size, okay? I have to cut the onions even smaller than the tomatoes because I don't like bulky onions, okay? And then when I pit the avocados, right, I don't just mash it, right? There's a certain way I cut it, right? And I cut it in such a way as to leave them chunky enough so that when you mix it, avocados being soft, they will start degrading, right? So you can't over chop it. You can't make them over smushy in the beginning, or else the final product will be too smushy. My guacamole is known to be very chunky, okay? And that's part of the allure of my guacamole, okay? I could use a blender to chop up the other stuff, but then you get puree, and that's no good. There's those other choppers. Have you seen them on the TV? I don't know what you call those things. You just kind of push a spring button, and it starts chopping the ingredients inside. That's maybe a little bit better, but they don't come out very uniform, right? Some are big, some are small. I take 2 hours cutting my tomatoes, right? And my onions, and my serrano peppers, and my cilantro, right? Takes me 2 hours. Why am I saying all of this, right? My guacamole is good because it's how I make it, right? It's the intentionality behind the consistency of the ingredients of the guacamole itself, right? Okay, now this is going to sound like this is a hard switch, okay? So when it comes to building our personal faith, it's like making guacamole, okay? How intentional are we when we build our personal faith, right? I think all too often we get into the habit just simply going through the motions, thinking that just by completing certain tasks, that the task is, that's it. It's over, right? Well, it's done and done. Specifically in areas, the spiritual disciplines, like prayer, meditation, fasting, etc., right? They are not about just going through the motions. They are not about just checking off a laundry list of things to do throughout the day.